American LCS, everybody, and joining me at the analyst desk in the second half of the show is Mr. Joshua Jatley Smith.
Thank you very much, dude. That was a pretty crazy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the craziest slow game I've ever seen.
It's true, but then it ended in like 12 seconds total.
Yeah.
I actually thought that Jack was going to outpush, but it was well done by LMQ. The guys, we want to check in with what you guys have been saying on Twitter for our question of the day, and to remind you what it was, we asked which North American LCS player brings out the best in his teammates and why. And here's what you guys wrote in with. At Curry says Afromoo. Not only is his in-game playmaking spot on, but his charismatic nature brings out the best in CLG out of game.
Yeah, you got to agree with that. I mean, so many guys are best friends with Afro on that team. Like, he is just so sociable, and he really, I feel like, creates a nice positive environment for the team. Yeah,
he's been a great pickup overall. He's been pretty awesome. Next up, Alex Very says Crumbs is the ultimate supportive jungler. He focuses on vision and lanes to bring out his team's skill.
And that's going to be probably a very interesting thing for Dignitas in their games this week, especially when we saw already Amazing bringing out the Sightstone on Elise, more vision control, kind of going back in time when it was kind of the jungler and support's job to do the brunt of the work. Might be coming back.
Yeah, we'll see. It's kind of like his style for sure. Next up, Garak2G says Link being a reliable mid lane threat as well as shot caller gives CLG a solid foundation to build plays around.
Got two guys on CLG at this point. I mean, the fact that Link transferred over to Cloud9 and was still just as successful means he's very good at working with pretty much anyone.
And CLG's doing pretty well in this one. Next up, at Will Trask 1 says High is a really big voice on C9. His shot calling and leadership allows everyone to do their best and be the #1 team.
Yeah, even though Bjergsen was the MVP of the spring split, High was right behind him, I feel like, because he brings so much to that Cloud9 team when they're at their best. They are struggling right now.
Yeah, we'll see if they can pick it up by the back half of the season. Guys, thank you very much for your responses. Keep them coming. Tweet at LOL Esports. Use that hashtag LCS. But now we're going to send things over to Riv and Kobe for our next match.
Thank you very much, Freak. It is time for Dignitas versus Team Curse, and we did make that caster lane swap. Kobe's with me now. The last time these two teams met, Crumbs was predicting an easy win, but Curse was able to hand dig one of their 2 losses this split, so take it easy.
In their last match, they made a couple of key mistakes. First of all, Kiwi Kid gave up first blood to Quas. Don't want to do that.
Nope.
Then Dignitas fell behind early in the lanes with little pressure from Crumbs, which is not like him. And then, to give you an example, Boy was up 41 CS at 10 minutes over Shifter. That's ridiculous. Then Dignitas, once again, they ran into trouble around the Baron pit as well, but they have cleaned up their problems around that area, and they've said that they're confident. So you can expect that team not to get caught looking past Curse once again.
The fans will be the judges of that. While Dignitas is trying to fine-tune their game, Curse have struggled and are sitting at the bottom of the standings right now.
The team has definitely been feeling a lot of the pressure, and they're definitely only the latest to initiate one of those common social media blackouts now.
Right.
You know, joining TSM there. They don't want to feel a lot of that criticism, and it keeps them focused in game. In the preseason, they were playing a great game, in scrims especially. However, starting off this season in the LCS, they've had a rocky start, and it's shaken their confidence. They were looking to get above that forever fourth curse, and it hasn't really worked out for them.
So we'll have to see what they can actually really do coming into this one. You wouldn't really know if they could do it or not with all the change-ups, what's been happening. The social media blackouts seem to have worked for some teams, new coaches being brought in, and a lot of people blame Dig's loss to Curse on overconfidence. But they say their mistakes started in Champion Select.
The last time we played Curse, we ran a kind of a weird team comp with Nidalee, but a team comp that we didn't practice that much.
We made mistakes because we weren't too familiar about how to fight with the team comp. Because that team comp we had to peel back more and let the poke go in.
Crumbs looks for a special. Quas in the front lines does a lot of damage, and his Shifter's going to fall. Zion can't do enough. Now he's going to get caught out. They trade Cutie down to a special.
In our game against Dignitas last game, I think we outfought them in team fights, and they messed up in some of their plays that we're making, and we were able to capitalize on it and then get the objectives. So I think if we still win the team fights and get the catches, then we should be able to get the objectives and then secure the game.
Against Curse, it's mostly about the solo lanes, I think. Quas and Void, they can adapt to like any meta. They play assassins, mages really well, so just have to keep an eye on those two mostly.
Last split, our team always did well versus Coast, and I performed pretty well versus Shifter. Dig is looking really scary right now. We did give them their first loss of the LCS, so I definitely think that our team can do well versus them, and I think I can definitely do well versus Shifter.
Well, the pressure's on, and even Curse has gotten behind Voidboy lately to say he's one of the stronger players on the team, and he's really stepping it up.
Yeah, him and Cop both. Cop's birthday today, actually.
Oh, there you go. See if he throws down the authority. Let's check out the starting lineups on the blue side. It will be Dignitas. It is Zion Spartan in the top lane, Crumbs in the jungle, Shifter in mid, I'm a Cutie Pie 80 carry, and Kiwi Kid with a bit of a modified haircut on support.
He's looking good. On the red side, it is Curse. Up top is Quas. In the jungle, I will dominate. Mid Voidboy, 80 carry Cop, happy birthday, and supporting X Special.
Indeed, we'll see if they can get him a birthday first blood. Curse is known as one of the teams, like EG, that will try to finagle something in the jungle, a little different, the tri-brush, and then a slow invade to the blue, and not just the ring around the rosy, place wards to see who's going for the 2v none. So maybe they can get the upper hand they're looking for, because against Dig, they're the team they beat already as the top, but see if they can do it again.
Yeah, it's scary for Curse going up against Dignitas because Curse are tied for last. Dignitas, they were tied for first. They're just now behind LMQ after that win. Mm-hmm. But again, it's one of the bottom teams playing against one of the top teams, and we talked about how Curse have had a hard time sort of with that shot, with the shot calling, with the confidence because of all of the criticism that they've been getting. It worked for TSM with the social media blackout in their last game, so maybe it will have helped Curse as well.
We'll see what Curse can bring out this game. We know they were quite aggressive within the last few games. We remember dominate on Pantheon, but the ults were not as coordinated as Curse would want them to be. So hopefully that doesn't affect their confidence on really getting themselves into fights.
Yeah, definitely going to have to work on that coordination, especially with the jungler, with more pressure being put on the junglers nowadays. Jad already talked about the experience over time being taken away. Jungle camps used to increase in experience value over the course of the game, and so you could farm it more effectively in the late game. But now, I will dominate. It's going to have to be more gank heavy and participate more with the team. It's to encourage more team play and less solo farming.
It's something it's been in effect, at least for Curse. That kind of plays into their role. Having St. Vicious on the team when he played in the LCS, he had in the team the hand in the most first bloods that the team would get, and that kind of leads to dominate as well, with St. Vicious being a coach for a while. On the back end, you kind of get a few of those traits and tips. And Dominate does like to get into the lane quite early, so we'll see if he tries to do that. Dignitas has been working almost kind of seems flawlessly with all of their confidence. But as we kind of say, once they have confidence, it seems like their momentum goes away. When everybody's against them, then they get a ton of momentum and they go on a win streak. So we'll see if they can keep themselves up, even with everybody giving them the thumbs up still.
Yeah, they've been very consistent so far for the beginning of this split. And really, talking about Dignitas, Crumb said his mentality is when you're going against one of these teams, you should attack the team's strengths rather than the team's weaknesses. So he's looking at attacking the stars of the team so that they can't carry the game by themselves. However, when you look at Curse, all of the lanes, none of them really stand out as huge stars that are going to solo carry this game. Okay. They're all very strong and sort of standard play. So Curse actually may have a good response to Dignitas strategy here, as they're a very balanced team and they can use many different strategies. They just haven't been able to make any of those different strategies work in game yet.
Right, and we can see how things change from the patches to what's being played. Jax, Yasuo, and Kassadin were the bans that Dig had last time being on the blue, or the red side, I should say. But they are going to let that Yasuo through, something Voidboy has been using quite a bit lately as Lulu's locked in for Dig.
Yeah, a lot of mid lane get through here because so much focus on the jungle here. Look at this, 4 junglers banned out. And these are sort of the new top 4 junglers for everybody with the changes to Kha'Zix. He has not been killed, but he may not be on this top level plateau anymore, along with the rest of these early game junglers that also provide utility later in the game. So with so much changing in the jungle, like we said, there's even more pressure on Dominate, on Crumbs this time around to go deeper into that champion pool. We could see things like Nocturne, like Vi come back, or the Pantheon that we talked about for Dominate.
Just as in the last time these two teams faced off, Curse bans Lee Sin against Crumbs. Now even more so with the Sightstone that all the junglers have been grabbing. That kind of helps. The Elise banned out as well. Jax and Braum picked up. Braum's keeping himself in every game today.
Yeah, very, very popular pick.
Nocturne.
Really, what Braum affords you is a tank from somewhere on the map that does not take up a spot in your top lane or from your jungle. So it affords them the ability to run a damaged top laner like this for Quas to have him try and carry the game with Jax. Now, as we talked about before, with Curse being very balanced, having a Jax on your team is always a target on your back. So Dignitas will definitely be looking to punish that Jax and keep him down.
Let's see what Quas can do. He's 0-3-1 on a Jax versus LMQ back in week 1. We'll see how it happens. It comes out for him this week. We see that Nocturne picked up as well for Crumbs. Going to be pretty sweet with Shifter ults and the Wild Growth coming in to keep him alive on dive fights. And we see Ziggs being played quite a bit this week if he gets locked in again.
Not only is Nocturne, right under this threshold of top 4 junglers right now, but he's a great pick in this scenario when they're already facing a split push team from Curse because Jax has been locked in. Using the vision denial of Nocturne to its fullest effect is really the sign of the great Nocturnes rather than just the good Nocturnes. Crumbs will leave his paranoia up for a long time before using it to close a gap, thereby putting the pressure on Curse to actually communicate more effectively.
We see Caitlyn locked in for Cop. His last play was 6-0-8 versus EG, and Rango Knife Cat for Dominate coming in here. Looks like we'll get another Rengar play as it's Shifter who locks in the Ziggs. Very scary in the hands of Shifter.
Interesting here, adding the Rengar into the team that already has Jax. A lot of melee focus here with them plus Braum. They could easily dive very deep into a team. However, the answer from Dignitas is locking in Ziggs. It's so hard for these melees to get through the minefield. And Ziggs also provides them a lot of wave clear. So if this 4-man squad with their Caitlyn, who really thrives on pushing, tries to shove down in a separate lane from Jax, then Ziggs does a lot to stop this strategy from Curse.
Very interested to see once the ganks start coming out at level 6 how they're kind of countered. Will Crumbs always activate if Dominate's jumping on something, or will be one following the other? It'll be a very interesting play style. Kale has seen quite a bit of play, also seen some top lane play lately, but it looks like it will go to the hands of Void Boy. He played that back in week 1, actually to a loss of a 1-3-3, so we'll see how he can do here. That was against LMQ, now against Shifter. It's not going to be any easier.
All right, so yeah, a lot of late game damage threats here from Curse. We'll see if they can actually pull off the mid game though. Cloud9 tried to use the jungle Rengar and weren't able to have successful late game assassinations. Now, jungle Rengar, he's going to be trying to assassinate people through Thresh, through Ziggs, and through Lulu. That is a lot of anti-dive.
All right, before the game gets afoot, let's see who you think will be smashing that Nexus. According to LOLesports.com, 87% of you have left-clicked the Dignitas thumbs up.
Now your job's not done yet. Keep sending your predictions throughout the entire game to @LOLesports and use that hashtag DIGWin or CRSWin.
It'd be a pretty tight game here. Curse trying to really put their foot down in this league, picking up Xpecial at the beginning of the season, have actually gone through quite a few all-star supports in that position and kind of showing not lackluster results, but not the results that they wanted. There have been the plays. Cop has definitely been able to have a revolving door support and still stay as a pretty good AD carry. So they've almost made things hard for themselves, but still stayed as a top caliber team.
Yeah, Cop's very comfortable on Caitlyn too. It's right up his alley with the play style as well as the skin
6-0-8 game.
But yeah, Cop, he likes to stand in the back line, put out the damage from a safe distance. Caitlyn will allow him to do that. This team though, Caitlyn's really the only one that's trying to shove towers early, and we're really going to be looking at this Braum and Rengar combo because it's a very deadly combo. If Rengar hits level 6 and goes to a Braum lane, it's so hard for you to get away from that gank.
So you're saying he's going to go to level 6 and go to Braum lane?
It's a Braum gank. Good combo.
We'll see what happens. We're about to jump onto the Rift. Game 3 of the day. It's been pretty damn exciting. Just got out of a base race. We'll see what Dig has for Curse as we jump onto the Rift. The fans are happy to jump back into the action.
All right, let's see here. We've got a Targons for Braum. Thresh has actually not opted for that. A lot of Thresh players really do like it, but he's going for the super early Sightstone. Does not want to get this Curse team let them have any vision advantage, because if they can shut down the moves early from Curse and keep up the pressure, then it'll be huge for Dignitas. Rengar is a very, very snowbally champion. Really relies on getting kills and assists to stack up his Bone Tooth item. That's now Hybrid Trinket as well. That's where he gets a lot of the power, and he can snowball out of control. But if he doesn't get these assassinations off, then he becomes a very ineffective champion, especially going versus a Dignitas team that has this much anti-dive. If Dominate does not get ahead, he's going to have a rough time.
Curse going quite strong on this invade, as will be Dig most likely doing the same thing on the other side. Slowly but surely, we'll get the late wards, or deep wards placed, I should say. And they're going to go back for safety. Might see standard lanes here as well. We saw a bit of that setup, but teams are still milling about, so no really telling.
Yeah, the unstandard thing here is a Voyboy with a Ghost and Flash on Kale instead of something like the Heal or Exhaust even. Interesting pickup for him. More mobility. They actually have two options for split pushing. Whichever solo lane gets ahead could be a strong split pushing threat if Voyboy goes with the now standard attack speed Rune on Hurricane build. I have to see which one they focus. Buff trades here to start it out. Pretty deep vision from both sides, and they do get the 2 versus 2 down bottom. That ward paying off.
You think we see more 2v2s since the jungle experience kind of went away? Junglers will be able to gank the lanes more instead of sharing a 2v1 with somebody? Or 2v none,
So the jungle experience was not going to have an effect early game. So I don't think that's the reason for it. But there have been more of these standard 2v2 lanes with people actually seeking out the matchups here. Lulu early on is going to like to try and keep Jax down by herself. They actually don't need a duo lane up there to do it. However, with a jungle like Rengar, there's a lot of damage there. Jax can set up Rengar ganks as well. So Lulu has to worry about tower dives because early on she's squishy before getting her ultimate, and any kind of assisted damage. But he does have that range advantage over Quas, which he can try and utilize.
And a few auto attacks in here and there.
Oh, here comes Dominate though.
First time Zion Spartan is on Lulu. He did go for a game of Kale in week 3 versus CLG, but this will be his first time trying to do his hands with picks in the top lane. Dominate is just waiting patiently. You see Crumbs backing right now, so they won't be able to activate too much. Dominate hits it, but no close on that kill.
Yeah, safe play here from Zion. That is going to afford Quas early game farm, though. He's going to have a pretty strong early game here, actually. Lulu doesn't get to press him very much. They did burn his flash, so Zion going to have to play even more passively now. That's the setup, though, for the gank that we talked about. Quas, Counter-Strike coming in, Leap Strike to try and get that one going. Again, though, tension from both teams. Crum said he likes to attack the strong points of his enemies, not the weak points, so he goes up to the top lane as well.
Yeah, that's something that I think everybody saw when Dignitas picked up Zion and Shifter, is that Crumbs' job became more or less controlling everything in the game and really getting behind Zion and Shifter to get the game going.
Man, look at this massive CS, though, there for Quas. Not only is he already ahead, he's got a huge wave to work with here. So a great early game for Quas, having started full consumables with the flask. Yeah, the only problem is actually getting those.
Getting a little antsy. Oh, that's all right. You got most of them. 27-18, still has teleport on the back, and it's perfectly positioned for him as he comes back to lane as well. You're going to see 2 rings being picked up by Zion. Crumbs yet to make a gank in the jungle yet, but they've been more for sure ganks, and really something comes out of it when Crumbs does it, so maybe patiently waiting for that one to come around.
Yeah, now the thing I always like to watch out for with standard lanes is the respawn of second buffs. And Crumbs especially is a jungler that really likes to prey on his opponent's second spawn of their buffs, going for the 7-minute invade mark to try and either catch out one of the laners going to get the buff or actually just straight up counter jungling his opponent. So, as of right now, Crumbs has just been hard farming and has not gotten his characteristic early vision down, but we may see that change as we do head up towards the second buff spawns here. With Nocturne, though, he's just trying to hard farm, get to that level 6, so he can either counter I Will Dominate Skank or get one off of his own.
Not seeing too many early dragons with the regular matchup either, so both teams are going to be having a good fight over that instead of just kind of giving one up for a lane push. Zion Spartan finally gets the minion wave back in his favor, but he had 18 when he got back to lane, so he's only gotten 7 since the entire, I believe, 2-wave push to the turret so far. You can see how Quas feels sure to go in and put some wards down. He's going to start getting to work on that lane.
Yeah, and Pinkward is going to be able to clear out Zion's vision as well.
So much control over that top lane already. Wow, the piercing light doing quite a bit of damage. Cutie Pie could not connect with the passive, but Special already kind of giving up a little bit of damage with that Braum play.
Yeah, Braum is a very strong support, and we've seen a lot of very nice cannon execution right there, by the way. A lot of emphasis has been put on Braum lately, but still, so many teams are rather first picking Lucian for the bottom lane than first picking Braum. The AD carry, even more important than the support, just because Lucian is so strong, and he's definitely a tier above the rest. Maybe up there, Twitch could be up there, but he is enough to have control over a Braum lane. Now the problem is, if you ever see a Lucian plus Braum lane, that's the time to get really scared.
He's great against. Can shoot piercing light through with a little bit of damage and get that ardent blaze just behind over his shoulders.
Yeah. Well, the double shots, you just instantly proc that stun pretty much.
Yep.
Let's see if Crumbs can make a dive happen here. Looks like some counter juggling. There it is. That second buff spawn. Crumbs at it again.
He gets himself into position. You can see the Lantern throw to Cutie Pie and Kiwi Kid as they make their way over there. ASAP. It is a smite down for Crumbs. It looks like it's going to go over to Voyboy in the mid lane. Nice tilt over Peacemaker as well. And they thwart that right away.
Not only did Dignitas not steal the buff, but they also weren't even able to deny it from Voyboy. So a huge win for Curse right there. And the classic Crumbs re-invade for second buff does not pan out for them this time. It's going to really help Voyboy out in this matchup versus Shifter. Kale's biggest strengths are just shoving a lane really, really quickly. Now that he doesn't have to worry about mana at all, he can also go for trades. He doesn't just have to shove because he can also use his heal to spam it after he trades with Shifter and get right back up to full life.
Doesn't shut down Shifter too much in the way of Braum. He can still huff a Mega Inferno bomb over to either side lane, but he's not going to be having fun, like you said. Ward getting cleared out. Voyboy is going to be able to just heal this back up. Nice heal. Puts him right back up 90%. And Rengar right on the backside.
Yeah, still level 6 Rengar here. Now this is really the very important choice for Curse. Curse have so many options for getting Snowball and going for their team. They want to get a Kale going early, but they also want Jax fed. And then he's got the option of the very strong Braum lane gank. So really, Curse's first gank with this level 6 Rengar is going to tell a lot about where they actually want to play off in this game. As of right now, though, Quas has already had a strong early game, and he's really off to a great start with Jax, so he doesn't need a lot of help. He's actually even gone with the burst damage of an early Sheen. So just the kill pressure of Quas by himself up there on Zion kind of makes Zion play more passive and keep on just trading farm with Quas here, which is exactly what Curse wants.
And it seems like they're really putting a lot of consideration on that kill pressure, as you say. Voyboy maxing heal for himself, dominating Quas into tight fight positions, and with intervention, they're safe.
All right, no wards for Zion. He's pushed up in the lane. Level 6 dominate. This is really, really good for Curse if he can pull it off. But look at Crumbs. He's got this jungler sense, even with no wards, heading up top as well. He's looking for the counter gank here, Crumbs. He knows that Zion is a really juicy target for Isle Dominate, and they go for the dive.
They go for the hit. He is not going to be on that side. No, he throws down the ult, goes right for Zion. He throws down the wild growth. The turret shot comes in. The 1-for-1. Who's got the fight, though? Red buff to red buff, but it looks like he's going to back off of that Nocturne damage.
Yeah, very, very close trade right there. Dominate answers with the ultimate of his own. Risky tower dive for Dignitas, but they do deny a lot of minions from Quas with that big wave. So let's take a look here. There's a bunch of ranged minions that are going to deny him. Dive in, they get the early damage. The fear barely goes off there. Zion gets one knockup, doesn't quite get Quas, but it doesn't matter because Crumbs does have a red buff as well.
Right.
Pretty even trade there. Just the wave lost for Quas.
The First Bloods are really putting people on the edge. We saw last game, it was pretty much just Helios' death for First Blood. These teams want that first gold. The edge in the lane means so much. Kiwi Kid pretty aggressive here against Xpecial as they try to get a little bit of HP coverage in the lane.
Yeah, both AD carries with the early BF sword, so they're fairly even on trading right now. Cop really looking to get that headshot off, but doesn't quite. Now, the important thing to note about the top lane trade there is that both kills went to the junglers. And in this case, both junglers are melee carries who really want to get going early. And snowballing, as I said, especially Rengar, getting those bone tooth stacks, extremely important for him. Now we're going to see who can actually play the melee carry jungler better. Dominate and Crumbs off to a very even start.
Back and forth in the top lane. Looks like we could get another gank up there as well, but Xpecial, he gets the terror down. He's going to be feared out, throws his ult down from Braum. And Cop, he is going to be safe just on the edge as it burns away the Duskbringer. Not enough to clean it up with the Lizard Elder.
They just got a whole lot of bottom lane
dear.
pressure. Oh, what a guess!
Oh my word! Cop squeezes tight and he stays alive.
Health pot ticking for him. Now, what I was going to say, though, they have complete control of the bottom lane because it was a successful gank, even though they don't come out with a kill. Really good trade for them. So much damage put down to the duo lane that they are rewarded with that dragon. And Crumbs with the quicker move rather than dominate. Going for the next gank after the top lane fight much quicker. And he, taking that initiative really affords Dignitas that extra objective right now.
Great play coming in from Zion Spartan, knowing he can just aggress very hard. A little short on the damage, but he is pushing Quas out of lane, and it's exactly what he needed. 19 CS down. It's been a little shaky.
All right, blue buff number 3 started up for Curse there too. Gonna try and give it over to Boy.
No one saw that.
Tooth.
Didn't miss any. 1-to-1 only in kills. Pretty low kill day with all the vision going out on the map recently. Nobody's keeping themselves safe.
I think we are seeing the effects of Quas also not going for early sustain. A lot of Jax players will go with the early Cutlass. If not, upgrading it into the Blade of the Ruin King early. Still at least getting the early lifesteal there for sustain in lane. But he's gone more for the kill pressure of the burst. Going to rush that Trinity Force first, starting with Sheen and moving into it. That's really the main thing that he does have over Zion, is the threat of a Rengar right behind him. And any time Zion has to worry about Quas coming up with a leap strike, counter strike, and having a Rengar right behind him, which he does at the moment.
Definitely keeping Zion Spartan at bay in most of their effect. Oh, maybe not this time. Coming in all secretive. No pink wards, but he sees it. He's going to get hit up quite hard. Wild Growth is still waiting to come up. And wow.
I was going to try and describe how painful it is. I was going to try and describe how painful it is when that combo happens. But you really can't. You have to see it in action. And Zion just felt the full power.
Feel it with your eyes.
Of it right there. All right, question answered, though. They are getting that Jax ahead pretty early. Let's see if Dignitas can make their answers bottom.
Dignitas always answering, one after the other. They lose somebody in the top lane. They are going to seamlessly take down 2 in the bottom lane. They still got some time until a dragon comes up, but the teleport to the top helping Zion to keep himself somewhere near the CS mark. 121 up on 91, but actions all across the map kind of keeping things even.
Now, these are very similar junglers, not only as players, but also as champions that the players are using. You can see Crumbs with pretty much an identical play to what Eyeball Dominant just did. However, very, very key factors here for Crumbs' gank. His was down bottom where they have 2 people. So not only did they get 2 kills, they also were able to take the turret after, whereas Quas, after the kill, can't take the turret by himself because there's not a lot of damage down on it, and Dominate didn't stick around for added damage under the turret. So Dignitas, they got more kills out of their gank. They also got the objective out of their gank. Another pick!
To Xpecial, tries to shield himself. It's only going to be a few last shots. Very nice intervention from the backside. The bomb just missing out. Look at everything Dignitas has the chance to use if they aren't going to get a kill. This is very hard for Curse to even approach the turret.
Yeah, a lot of long-range follow-up from Dignitas if anybody does get low. Scary, scary situation for Special there. He gets out alive, however, their turret goes down.
Zion Spartan realizing he has a neighbor quite close in the brush, but Quas, once he's found out, he realizes he's going to be back to the turret to farm, doesn't want to miss any of that experience. Looks like he'll have actually quite a good time here if he wants to freeze it, but Curse needs some pressure on the map right now. Dignitas is starting to get that stranglehold.
What Curse do have going in their favor is solo lane farm. We talked about them having options for carries and late game split push.
Yeah.
Both of those guys very strong in the farm. You know, early Nashor's Tooth there from Voyboy, so he'll probably be working his way into that Runon's Hurricane as the second item. Some people do opt for AP first, though,
Right.
to get the extra damage. Nashor's does scale a little bit as well with AP. But yeah, it's going to be so many options there for Curse in the split pushing game. Really what they're going to have to worry about is the rest of the squad that aren't out there by themselves. It's going to be a lot up to Special on Braum for the disengage. Voyboy to speed people up, and really the others to just watch their positioning. Cop is at that point in the game where Caitlyn is kind of sad, really wants a couple more items to be effective. Mid-game, not the greatest of times for him. So really he's going to have to be very careful at this stage, especially since Crumbs has shown such a propensity to gank him over and over, really targeting Cop.
Continuously crushing down, even building a brutalizer for himself at 3-0 and 0, feeling like he's a bit ahead of the game. Throws that in with a Ruby Crystal, so it's going to be a lot of damage coming from this Nocturne until he builds that armor up. Okay, Cutie Pie, he's safe down here, even with Kiwi Kid to walk off a bit to the side. Map control from Dignitas, it could get them into a bad situation here. There's the heal that Voyboy has been leveling up so early, and it may be just enough for them to catch it. He ran the wrong way, though. Dominate was still coming from that side, and Curse shows their ability to catch up as well.
Yeah, Kiwi Kid trying to get vision down for his team so that thing doesn't happen. However, while he's doing it, does get caught out.
Oops.
He was able to get the ward down, though, so that frees him up to type worth in all chat. Fourth blue buff spawn, though. Having Kiwi Kid just gone down, you know, Crumbs, he's edging over there. However, without that support, you really are going to have a difficult time here. Basically, what he wants to get done is try and deny it from Voyboy, but we've seen it.
Oh, whoa! How's that?
All right, so Dominate's slow to the party. Curse actually start up the blue buff too early, and they do too much damage to it before their jungler arrives. Whoa. They pay for it.
Whoa, they're right on a pink ward too. This is all the vision that Curse needs to turn something around. Crumbs taking quite a bit in the beginning. A nice calling kind of feeds to the back line.
He lets
Still hits the special, but Cop threads the needle. Gets himself a birthday kill there. Quas takes down the top turret with all the vision in the bottom lane and him pushing out Zion Spartan. He's having a field day up here.
Huge ups and downs for Curse fans there. He's able to come out with the miracle steal even without having their support because of Dominate going to the top side of the jungle, but then turns right back around, over-aggressive, pays for it with his life, and then back up for Curse as their top laner gets the kill. So Crumbs going super aggressive here, gets very deep, and they put a lot of focus into Braum. Braum puts up the shield, though, reducing a lot of the damage. They don't get him down. Cutie Pie, no dash left, and Crumbs has a wall right next to him, so he can't even edge further over. Already spell shield being used as well, so couldn't have no answers there. And Cop finds his mark. However, the big story, you know, while there was a lot of action around blue, Quas up top is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
He's got the finished Trinity Force. He is able to handle Zion by himself, as we just saw. And now it was a perfect timing for him to come right down for Dragon because he secured the top lane for his team. But then he gets hooked.
He's going to be able to handle quite a few people if he gets into the fight. There's a few shots right there. We still see Crumbs trying to make it in and out of the fight, but so low health after the last engage. Everybody's kind of weary.
Extremely even game here. Now, taking Dragon for 1 kill is worth it in that exchange. However, what you have to watch is what Curse will do with the extra man advantage on the field. They need to press something. They're going towards mid right now and leaving their strong Jax as split push bottom. They do get the turret in answer, so Curse again able to come out with a pretty big exchange there for themselves. Very, very close game here.
Absolutely. Both junglers ferociously feeding themselves through this one. Dominate finally getting the first 3 stacks on himself, so he gets that bit of movement speed and pushing out of combat. Always helps to stack up the bone tooth. Crumbs playing quite a good Nocturne, but we see him finishing the Youmu's now, and how fast he went down in that last fight, kind of prioritizing all this damage. We'll see if he changes that build up now that he has that damage.
Yeah, I kind of like the route that Crumbs went, where he went with flat armor penetration early with the Ghost Blade. And it adds a lot of burst damage too, because when he jumps in, he can activate that, and it gives you a huge power spike for the duration. Since he's squishy, probably not going to be alive that long anyway. It'll be a really big benefit for him.
Output.
However, Dominate has gone the opposite route. He went with percentage-based armor penetration here, and there's no armor really built on Dignitas yet. So really the flat penetration better early, and it's going to provide Crumbs a bit more threat when he does dive in. Now later, Dominate will already have that Last Whisper, but we'll see what he builds next, because both of these guys, as I said, on jungler is extremely similar. Going to be looking for those melee range, the melee assassins.
Yeah, it does actually look like Voyboy will prioritize that ability power. As we said, he leveled that heal up, making sure everybody stays safe with the 2 killers of Quas and Dominate on the team. Already had a good intervention to keep Xpecial alive, so the fingers are warmed up for both teams right now. They've made some tight plays, and the aggression is definitely on. 4-0 and 0 for Dominate.
Quas too deep.
This could be bad for him. He has a ward to jump to over the wall. Nice break on the Terror Thread. He's going to be getting out safe. Cause a little
Great
stretch.
escape there for Quas. Not even having to blow any summoner spell. He was deep in enemy territory, no vision for himself, 1 versus 3, and he gets out without having to use anything besides a ward drop.
235 to 244 in the mid lane. Not too big of a discrepancy in CS there. 80 carries matching up quite evenly. Cop getting that ace in the hole kill on the Crumbs so far, which was a nice shutdown of 3 kills. So a bit of surge of gold there as that finished Phantom Dancer.
We need to start keeping a close track on vision. Everybody's changed out for sweepers here. However, not a lot of wards down deep for Curse in this Dignitas jungle. That's really going to hurt their ability to split push, as well as their ability for Dominate to pick people off with his ultimate. They really are going to try and outposition Dignitas. Both of these teams very similar in styles. Looking for those very quick kills in transition.
Well, Curse has done a very good job this game of not getting themselves into trouble after they do get ahead. Usually they'll get themselves into wanting too much, and then they crumble under that pressure of pushing themselves, even for just a blue buff after taking a dragon. Luckily, Dragon's on their side of the blue buff this time. They're safe. 23 minutes on to this. 3 turrets down on each side. That's the outer 3. So the second tiers still stand and still provide a diving turret for both teams.
So interesting here, as you know, Curse have that little bit of split push advantage, but Dignitas have the wave clear really working for them with Shifter and Zion on those 2 APs, 2 AP players, both with AP builds. Each of them has great wave clear to sort of counteract this Curse situation where they've got Kale as well as Jax. It's really going to be all about these junglers, who gets the pick and who can actually get that kill early, because both of them are very much all in, and both of them are going to have to deal with defensive ults, either coming from Kale or coming from Lulu, to try and defend their targets.
Well, definitely seems like Dignitas is switching things up coming into this season. 2 coaches on their side. It's been a back and forth.
Again, Kiwi Kid going for the blind ward.
I don't think the coach had that in mind. Good shield coming out. Also getting himself a bit of that summoner heal coming over from PewDiePie. He is throwing himself a Hail Mary right now, but it's not going to work or keep him alive long enough. 40 seconds on the clock there. Dignitas finds the move they want, pressuring Curse into a bad spot.
Kiwi Kid with the face check bait there. Now Dignitas have a bit better anti-dive, and they're able to keep Kiwi Kid alive. Voyboy got himself in a really bad spot, and it does cost them inhibitor.
Oh, the Dolly gets in! It's special doll! He got himself killed as well! Oh, throws himself in the flame. It's a little too hot for the toes. Goes down quickly. A 3K gold lead in a matter of seconds as Dignitas opens up the map through the middle.
You might say that's unexpected, and with how quick it turned around from how slow it was going, but that's what happens when everybody in the game is building damage. Everybody is building damage here. There's so much damage on the field. If someone gets caught out of position for a second.
Oh,
They're
that
dead.
bomb.
And even if it's Braum jumping in there with the shield, Dominate doesn't want to take any piece of that culling, and a special goes down.
He's like, no thank you. 4 seconds on Dragon. That can be grabbed right after this dance is done. Baron goes down. They're actually quite low. They need to be careful here. But I don't think Curse is going to try to stretch themselves thin either. Dignitas making a big move. 25 minutes in.
Question now is, do they get the answer Dragon? If they don't get that consolation prize of the counter to Baron, the Dragon experience and gold that they desperately need, then they're going to be really far behind. They do go for it here. Since Dignitas were a bit slow in their recalls. So at least there's that for Curse. And they will stay competitive. Now, as one-sided as that looked for Dignitas, it was really all about positioning.
Yeah.
And Curse can easily still come back in this game. It's not out of reach for them just because Dig got a very commanding teamfight win. And because they already got that inhibitor, yes, it's a great lead, but Curse still definitely have the damage to make a comeback. If they can catch somebody out of position and actually complete a kill on it and not have someone walk into the rest of the team, then they can easily
I don't know what you mean.
turn the tables around.
Still good farm in that top and mid lane. Solo lane's really holding strong. 241 to 178. Dominate gave Quas a really good helping hand in the top lane, and Quas is somebody who can kind of carry that by himself. We've seen them then matching up after the few ganks for Quas to come out on top. Holy, as he finishes the Blade of the Rune King now. The AP Rabadon's is final. She finished up by Boy. May see more attack speed come in after that portion. But it's all up to really how much they can stop this Dignitas push now to the top lane.
Yeah, really. The test is now for the Curse wave clear. Curse's wave clear is a bit more dangerous
They're pretty spread
than
out.
that of Dignitas.
They're
They have
not
to
ready.
rely on Caitlyn and Kale, who can clear waves very quickly. Well, they don't want to defend this turret. They're trying to defend inhibitor ones, but they can clear waves very quickly. However, they do have to get fairly close in range. So it's a bit more scary for someone like Boy to be up there trying to clear this wave off. They're going to try and buy as much time as possible, but they aren't even comfortable defending 4 vs 5 and having Quas split push. They immediately call him back to base and try and set up that line of traps.
And this is quite big as well. We talked about a bit of the armor pen for Crumbs, but the last Whisper finished up for I'm a Cutie Pie. No armor to be seen on the side of Curse just yet. Going to be quite hard for them to really take any of these shots.
Yeah, everybody building damage, as we said. There's a little bit of defense now coming in. Some Zanyas in the making.
Yeah.
For Zion there. He will be looking to stay alive longer so that he can use his ulti on someone else and then rely on the item. However, this turret's taking a beating here, and Crumbs is actually trying to split push mid, which is very smart since he can use his ulti as a gap closer.
Right.
We'll see how long he's able to keep it up, though, and deny vision as well.
Specials trying to get Lockets of the Iron. Solari finished as well as facing the mountain, so he can throw out a little bit more help for the team. Quas doing what he can to stop these super minions that are now flooding into the base. This is going to be what they take. Probably inhibitor after it as well. Bottom lane is not pushed up for Dig, so this is what they have their eyes on, to stranglehold Curse here and open up the map even more. Throw down the ultimate to deny vision. Do they really even want anything? It's just going to be for the scare. Dig flexes their muscles at the inhibitor turret and gets the inhibitor out of it.
What a beautiful combo there from Dig. They make it look so easy. Crumbs pops his vision denial, and Kiwi Kid walks right up, gets a hook right outside of that Fog of War, lands it easily onto Boy,
right.
killing the key component to Curse here, and Dignitas just make it look so easy.
They're walking themselves in, taking a bit of damage from the outside, but it looks like they can mitigate this just enough. Dominate throws the ult on. They know he's up. They know he's alive. But like you said, that key component with the intervention, the heals, Boy is down. And Curse has to rethink everything as they assess this fight. The grab again from Kiwi Kid just on the outside as they pepper the turret with more shots. The second Nexus turret goes down. Quas almost goes for broke as he does not dive into the fight. The rest of the team was going to the fountain. They push him out of base, but Curse, they're on their last breath here.
This is the second game in a row where we're seeing a Jax who actually got off to a good start. A Jax who's actually powerful, and the team's not able to even utilize him as a split pusher because the rest of their team, their 4-man squad, cannot hold. You can't just have one person be extremely strong and be the split pusher. The rest of the team has to be able to deal with the Dignitas force and the Dignitas shove, the dive. The wave clear just is not there for Curse. They're not able to support this very strong Jax, who's got almost 100 CS lead over his opponent.
Right.
You know, and people don't want to fight him 1 versus 1, but they don't have to. Dignitas do not have to opt into that situation. They're going to take the fight that is more advantageous to their team comp.
And we just saw Quas wanting to jump into that fight. That would have been a 4-person Counter-Strike inside the base, but Curse just kind of on the back foot.
Yeah, as we looked at in Champ Select, this is a hard team to dive on.
Right.
Lulu, ulti, Zig,
Yeah.
Thresh, and even with all those, there's so much damage on Curse that we've seen them take huge
Yep.
chunks out of like Kiwi Kid when he's face checking, but still very, very dangerous for Curse melee carries to get in there. Now they're down 2 inhibitors, so it's very easy to dig, for dig, to swing across the map,
Man,
especially the last side.
and it gets so much scarier. Just look at that gold increase. The up and the down, and then just the up. Just when Dignitas knew they had a hole.
And basically these ups and downs are whenever the jungler is making a move for that team. You know, when it's Crumbs full damage Nocturne
Right.
going in, grabbing some kills and objective for his team. Or it's Dominate going for the assassinations.
Crumbs causing a little chaos on the left side just to draw attention, but that attention means that Cutie Pie gets shots on the turret. They're just causing chaos around the map, and it's enough to get the shots they need to move that much closer to the W on this game. 32 minutes on the clock has just ticked as the final inhibitor turret falls. Eyes on the inhibitor without any contest here. Dominate, he gets pulled right into the box. The intervention is on. That's the perfect way they wanted it, but they wanted it on their terms, and that's not how it's gonna happen this time. Dignitas starts to clean up.
Yeah, good game, Dignitas right there. Very, very commanding performance. With everybody building damage, it's all about positioning and split-second crowd control. Really, really well played, well executed from Dignitas there. And Team Curse, when you're running with Kale as your defense, it's all about timing. You have to get one of those intervention ultis to block a lot of initial damage. We weren't able to make it happen there.
32 minutes on the game, 10-5 and a 10,000 gold lead as Dig takes down Curse. Fantastically played game. See a little more Nocturne, or I should say a little more Rengar play and Nocturne play, as the junglers have been getting hit a little bit this week. Brahms made his appearance in the games, getting a little bit of change up, and still seeing the top tier teams getting their victories.
Yeah, I mean, we saw 2 carry junglers here.
Right.
Neither of them go Feral Flare because it's been nerfed too hard. However, people that were worrying about having to go back to utility jungle, know that you don't have to worry any longer. Very much viable still to go damage. It's just that the Lizard Elder is a much better choice than the Feral Flare.
Zion Spartan really showing that game that just keeping his head in it. Even though things were getting pretty tough, they focused him over and over again.
Yeah, he didn't try and overextend. Right. He knew he was going up against this Jax and Rengar combo that can kill him extremely easily, which did one time. However, he was able to play further back and safer for a large portion of the game, trusted in the strategy that they came into the game with, and they played it out very, very well.
A great game coming in for the entire team. Really, they switch up what they used in the last composition. We had Shifter on Italy, a Twitch game for Cutie Pie. So they are even just kind of, I'd say what LMQ was. Every team says, oh, we'll only plan for this. But we're seeing more teams kind of have something for every team. They're able to kind of plan ahead. And I think Dignitas, being a top team, has a better chance to do that with so many victories. They're saying, yes, we can kind of rely on this game, not get trapped by one, and make sure we beat somebody like LMQ or TSM.
And the play in this game was awesome to watch, just because Crumbs was like, okay, you're going to go Rengar, I'm going to go Nocturne.
Yeah.
We're just going to see who can carry hard, who can get off the more ganks, who can get more damage quickly.
Yep.
And he made the choices where he would win out slightly. His gank would get 2 kills, Dominate would only get 1. They would translate into some turrets. Really well played.
Translate into the W. All right, for the inside track on that match, let's send it over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. I want to welcome Dignitas Crumbs to the desk here. So, yeah, to kind of continue the conversation they were having about the jungle picks there. You guys going for big, heavy fighters, Nocturne, Rengar kind of back in the pool. We've seen Rengar twice now I want to start with that because she's a champion. How do you feel about jungle Rengar right now?
I've seen a lot of jungle Rengar lately, especially because they got unbanned from the LCS. Now, I think the champion is something that's very unique because a lot of people say, oh, he's really good. Others say he's really bad. You have to be very practiced on the champion. Like, if we're not good at the champion, you pretty much have to always build him AD first of all, because if you go tank, you're worthless. And to build him AD and pull him off successfully, you have to be almost a master at the champion. So I feel like Dominic played a very good Rengar. All the Rengars we've practiced against have been really bad. And then me playing Rengar, it's so-so. I mean, I'm getting there. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with him, but not to a great level. And I just think the champion is just like a Nocturne. It's pretty much a different Nocturne.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, there was a bit of a gank trade you guys had. One time the Rengar ganked the top lane. You got a double kill down at the bottom lane. We actually pulled this up on the screen as a clip because Crumbs kind of walked me through what you were thinking in the game here as the top lane gank happened and then the bottom lane gank, which we'll see right afterwards.
I mean, we knew at this point that Rengar Jax is just way stronger in the 2v2 top. And honestly, no matter how far behind Lulu falls, she's still going to be useful. So I just let her do her thing. If she's dying, okay, I mean, at least she's going to have all her CC, while Jax really just needs all that damage. And then I know that Lucian does very well against Rengar, and we blew their summoners previously in another game. Yeah. So at this point, no summoners bot lane on the Caitlyn with a Thresh lane Lucian. Like, this is a free double kill. So their gank ended up not even getting a turret. They just got a kill. And then ours ended up getting a dragon and setting up for a turret. So it's just looking at the big picture as to what is going to get you more objectives. Yeah.
It was a really interesting gank to watch as an observer because it was literally you were just trading ganks brute force through the lane and you guys got a much better trade. But something that was interesting about those two junglers is there were 4 jungle bans in that game. Do you kind of want to walk me through the process both teams are going through there?
I think they just banned Lee Sin. I'm really comfortable on Lee Sin. And then they banned Jarvan because I think they probably thought Jarvan would be like my main champion. If Evelynn was out, Elise is out, and then Kha'Zix at the rework, right? So he's not that strong as a jungler anymore. He's more of a laner. He's not too strong early game, and evolving his ulti doesn't give you any good abilities that you want from a jungler. So Kha'Zix is kind of falling off as a jungler itself, so there's not really that many top-tier junglers. So perhaps their thought process was obviously, just ban all the junglers, take Rengar, and then, I mean, there is still plenty left. There's still Rengar, Nocturne, Vi. Hell, you could even do a Mumu, Rammus, who knows?
Do you think we're going to see more tank junglers come out, or is it still like go for the 3 if you can and then just kind of fall back if you need to?
I mean, I think we'll only see those champions if all the other junglers are out, honestly. Like, you're going to see Elise and Lee Sin and all those, all as much as you can, just because they're so good. If they're banned, you have to adapt and do something else.
Okay, so then taking a step back, I know last time you guys played Curse, you lost, and right before you'd said it was going to be an easy match. Was there some extra effort making sure you didn't make that same mistake again for this game?
We were confident going into the game, but we did get a little bit taken back because the game plan didn't unfold starting from the level 1 as to how we thought it would. So we kind of did a little bit of staggering as to deciding what we were going to do around the 1 minute and 50 mark when the buff spawned. So aside from that, though, we didn't really expect to have a standard lane. So it just ended up that on the fly, they decided to just go to camp top, we camp bottom, and that's how the game turned out.
Do you want to talk a little bit more in depth about the thing that threw you off at 1 minute 50 seconds in this game?
Well, usually right now what you see with lane swaps is people pretty much invade the side that the opponents are invading, right? So what happened was they chose to back their bot lane recall. They wanted standard lane, so they just recalled. We're like, oh, okay, they want standard lane, so I guess that threw us off.
All right. And then, like you said, it was actually a pretty close game. We have another clip of Kiwi Kid kind of baiting out the fight that ended up winning you guys the game. I want you to walk me through what your team was thinking and why this fight turned around the way it did.
I mean, at this point, we're looking for deep wars to try to make plays. We're really struggling to get something going because I'm Nocturne. I want to get as many deep wars as possible to want to stay farming. So he falls for the Rengar, goes right in, and then they channel so much for him. And right here, we have a ward. Kale puts herself way out of position. So at this point, I thought she would just flash over and get out of that as soon as possible, but she doesn't do it quickly enough because Fear goes in, and as soon as that happens, they got chunked way too hard from the Ziggs ulti while trying to go on Thresh, basically. And then since they were on that left side, we managed to push in because we had a wave coming in, and at this point, Cutie just goes in and gets a crazy double kill, and from this point over, that's game.
Yeah, it was just this crazy series of almost unfortunate events for Curse because it had seemed like a very close game up until that point, as Cutie gets a little crazy down at the end there. Is that kind of a confidence thing for you guys that you're able to turn such a huge advantage off of just a single catch, or is that something you guys would have always done?
I mean, not really. You just have to see the situation. It just so happened to be that there's a wave right there. They zoned themselves off from the wave, and we got a pick, and we have the good ability to poke them off a turret because they have very weak wave clear. If Kale's dead, it's just Caitlyn Q to clear wave. That's barely anything. So we'll be able to take a turret off. And honestly, that engage right there is reminiscent of the one that I did in their blue side. When they focused on Thresh, I went in on the Braum and ended up dying for it. So since mine was earlier, I just ended up dying and we didn't get blue buff, but theirs was much later and when we were grouped already and we were able to take much more off that.
That worked really well, and you guys went for Baron, and actually I want to kind of ask you about, it was a really brief Baron fight, but basically it seemed like you guys pulled off the exact correct memories. You had a Kiwi kid like flay back the Rengar to block the steal attempt. Like, how is the coordination when you're like, okay, they're coming down to try to steal? Like, does everyone know their individual job? Does someone call out like, you peel, you guys deal damage? Because that was really flawless.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what they have to do, right? If you're Thresh, you're not going to be hitting Baron for damage. So everyone knows their job. I mean, at that point, we were doing Baron, and then I was like, okay, you need to zone off Rengar. Does he have flash? And then QB's like, don't worry, man, I got this. I'm a god at this. Like, okay. So they just zoned them off, and then we just got a free Baron.
Okay.
Yeah, another successful Baron. And final question, actually, for you, Crumbs. You guys have Cloud9 tomorrow, which in the past has been the juggernaut of the North American LCS, but now are sitting at 5-4. Does that change your approach to that game? How do you think Cloud9 is going to be doing?
I mean, you can't take Cloud9 lightly, obviously, but they've been looking pretty shaky, especially with the game they had today against TSM. That's a game that honestly looked like Cloud9 not only outdrafted them, but they should have won that game, and they ended up doing a couple of throws here and there. But I think obviously they always turn up to play every time. They do really well, so we won't take them lightly. But I think it should be a good game for us. I think we're gonna win.
All right.
All right, well, good luck to you. You guys have held on to first place so far. That's awesome. Nice to see you guys doing well, and we'll see you again tomorrow. We got to take a quick break before we get to our next game, which is CLG versus Complexity. We'll be right back after this.
I wasn't not very good. Okay. I'm glad we got that conversation out of the way.
A really juicy target for Isle Dominate, and they go for the dive.
They go for the hit. He is not going to be on that side. No, he throws down the ult, goes right for Zion. He throws down the Wild Growth. The turret shot comes in.
That Jackson head pretty early. See if Dignitas can make their answers bottom.
Dignitas always answering, one after the other. They lose somebody in the top lane. They are going to seamlessly take down two in the bottom lane.
It does cost an inhibitor.
Oh, the he gets in. It's specials. Oh, he got himself killed as well.
All right, we should be good. Nice.
Dom.
I'm on Braum.
Kill.
Woo, baby! I'm out. There we go.
We had double